In this video, I want to show you the free, simple process of creating a stunning showcase for your work by placing them in 3D devices. You can take your designs, applications, websites, anything, and place them inside of phones, laptops, tablets, and others to create a really strong impact. All of this can be done for free with Figma, and I'm going to run you through how to do it step by step. So we are going to create our free 3D mockups using Figma. Figma is an unbelievable tool, completely free. You can actually use it entirely in your browser, or you can download it to your Mac or PC. Stunning, it is a full-fledged, full power. We're talking the same as Adobe XD or Sketch, anything else. Now that might sound intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through as slowly as I can to show you the steps to just get out the pieces that we want, which is to export our images, our designs, our screenshots into 3D devices to really make a fantastic statement. So to do so, you'll go to figma.com and you'll go over to sign up. Now, if you're using a Gmail account, you can easily just use that Gmail/Google account, hook up immediately, or just sign up with your email and password. You're ready to go. Again, entirely free for an unbelievably powerful system. Once you're logged in, I already have my account here, you'll be presented with this screen or some variation of it depending on when you're seeing this. Don't worry, again, this is a lot. It'd be worthwhile to spend some time in Figma, but we're just going to go through the absolute basics today. So when it comes time to it, you'll see these are your files down here, all kind of stored in the cloud. When it comes time to it, we're going to create a new design file, and that'll be our template, our placeholder where we're going to do all of our work, all of our designs. But first, we're going to install plugins. Now, one of the most amazing things with Figma is that the community around it have built all of these plugins that really extends its capabilities. So perhaps you want to add in some images or some icons, do some animation. It's unbelievable how much they've done. So we're going to go through a couple plugins, and I'll show you some options, give you some variations on how you can use them for these 3D effects. So to get them, what you want to do here is on this left side after we've logged in, you'll come down to Explore Community. And I would suggest you kind of do this on your own when you have some time to explore the capabilities. I bet you'll be blown away and given some great ideas. But for instance, if we, after clicking Community, we come over here and search for Device, you'll get a whole lot of options. Now, these are files, and this is a whole nother way to do it. I might do a video in future about it. And if you'd like to see more Figma videos or one specifically on this type of device, leave a comment below. But this is where this lets you duplicate an existing design file that has images ready to go that you can kind of slot it in. But we're looking for plugins that'll kind of take something we have and render it out. And I'm going to go through a few that I've found that work really well. And I'm going to link all of these in the description of this video, so it's going to be much easier for you to find. So Clay Mockups 3D, this actually seems to be a riff on another one called Mockups, but I found at this moment, this output was a little bit cleaner. So Clay Mockups 3D, a plugin that allows you to choose a particular image and have it render inside and play with the scaling and everything else. And I'll show you this in a moment, but it's really great. So Clay Mockups 3D. Once you come to this page, once you've logged in, make sure you're logged into your Figma account. Go to this page, this link that I'll include in the video below, and come over here on the top right. This button will be blue, and it'll say Install. Install it, and then it's installed in your Figma instance, ready to use right away. So Clay Mockups 3D, top right, click Install. Next up is just Mockup. Another similar one where we'll be able to choose a screen. These ones actually focus a lot more on set pieces, so you don't have as much control on the variation of angles, but on realistic looking devices. So an actual iMac or an iPad sitting in screen. Beautiful. And the free stuff available within it are all ready to go. So top right, and again, click it Install. So it's installed to your Figma. Lastly, we're looking at Vectary 3D elements. Another example, a lot of customization and a lot more output options. Perhaps you want to see what your logo looks like on a hat or a shirt. This one has all of those as well as the devices. But again, we'll show that when we get into the actual designing. So again, on Figma, make sure you're logged in. Top right, hit Install. So that's Clay Mockups 3D, Mockup, and Vectary 3D elements. If any of them speak to you, you don't need all three. I'm just trying to give you some options for what you might look at. So once those are installed, you're ready to go. You want to go back to the main Figma page, and that's either open a new tab, go to figma.com, or on the top right on the globe, just come down and click on your name. And we're back at the main dashboard. As you create new design files, it'll all show up here. So if you've already done it or returning, you can do so. But on figma.com, we'll come here, top left here, we're looking for new design file. Let's create something brand new. So here it is. If you've ever used a design program like Figma, Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe XD, this will feel a little bit familiar to you. If not, don't worry, we're only going to focus on exactly the output. The tools for this are on the top left. And again, if you want a full Figma video, leave me a comment below. But for today, super focused on just what we're doing. What we're going to want to do is follow the various workflows for the different plugins. And it's either that you upload an image or that you create a frame and then it applies it to it, or you upload the plugin and then it goes right through it. So we're going to work on each one. What we'll do here is on the main area, right, load into this file, we're going to right click. So new file inside of Figma or any design file you may already have, right click, come on down to plugins, and let's start off with Clay Mockups 3D. So I'll click on that, and here it is. So the first thing it's asking is, what do you want to render? What do you want to show? So on the right side, I have my preview, and then here on the right side, I have my options. It's either the phone, the iPhone, the Pixel, or the MacBook Pro. Browser is sort of interesting as far as just a nice kind of tablet render in a box. I think that's really beautiful. You can imagine some pages that you've built that you want to show off. That's a really great option. For our purposes, I'm going to go with a MacBook Pro and display it around. Now, what I'm going to do to suggest you do, just to get a really good sense of the space that you're working in, is on the bottom right here, you'll see Create Empty Frame. So we'll go ahead and click that. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Now a frame inside of Figma is very much a space that would output or render. So all of this kind of area is kind of our design artboard. Inside of here, this frame, that's actually something that you could save out as an image. Now the best way to illustrate that is if I draw a square, and don't worry, this part isn't really pertinent to the output. I'm just trying to give you some context. You see if I draw it here and kind of put it inside of this frame, it's only showing what's inside of this frame. So this is very much like the monitor frame, picture frame of what you can see, and things would kind of be cropped out on the outside. Again, don't worry about it if you don't entirely understand that. That could be for later Figma videos. I just want to try to give you some context. So what we did, quick reminder, plugins, we went, in this case, it's the Clay Mockups 3D. We chose our device. In this case, it was the MacBook Pro. And all I said is to make sure I can get the screenshot fit perfectly into this screen, I came down here to Create Empty Frame. And doing so gave me this space to work in. Now next, this is a kind of an outside tip, but I find what's very useful when getting screenshots. If we go back to this, it had told me that, I'm going to back up a whole lot, it's 1280 by 800. I need a screenshot that is 1280 by 800. So what I'm going to do is show you a trick. I'm going to take a screenshot of my website. Now this is 1920 by 1080, and maybe I could reduce it a bunch and take some screenshots and try to get it right. But who knows how long that might take. The trick to do, if you're in Edge or Chrome, and I believe Firefox or Safari have something similar, anywhere on screen, right click, and down here at the bottom you'll find Inspect. Go ahead and click on that. Now, again, don't be intimidated. There's all the code that's showing here and all these blue boxes coming up. We're not focusing on that. Come over here to the right side, just between where the code is and the page, and you'll see you'll get this drag arrows. Click and drag, and then notice on the top right. The top right is going to show you the size of that area. And at this moment, there's 1280, there's like 1000. Great. So what we can do is we can specify exactly how big this space is. Let's bring that down to 800. In this way, when we're taking a screenshot or a screen grab, we know exactly that we've hit the right size. Again, Much like a lot of the other stuff I'm saying, not really pertinent to the exact output, but just a nice little trick that might help you out. So there we have it. So I'm going to grab a quick screenshot of this open area here. There we have it. Great. Let's come back over to here. I had previous issues with saving to my clipboard. It's not, so that's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and just drag the photo. I can drag it right from my desktop right onto Figma. It acts very much like desktop program, or again, maybe you've already downloaded this to your computer, either way. So I took a screenshot. I was able to use inspect to get it to the exact size. And now I have it on screen. Excellent. Now, last little part, we're using the first one. I'll go ahead and right click. And to be clear too, you don't have to use a screenshot, of course. If you get more comfortable with the program and you want to have this text, if you want to design something inside or bring something over from Canva, you can totally do that as well. It does not have to be a screenshot. All right, let's get this back in. I'm going to drag it into the frame. It's fitting in nicely. Okay, I'm going to select it. So I've selected the frame. Going to, I'm sorry, one last bit because this part could be confusing. I want to move this photo. Maybe it's not perfectly lined up. If I click on it and I move it, I'm moving the whole frame. Oh no. You know, this is just something with Figma that you'll come to get used to. But I would like to point it out. Oh no, I'm moving the whole frame. How do I move around the image? Two ways. If you double click into it, you're now going to be kind of able to adjust this photo. So the first click kind of selected the frame. The double click got the image within it. Other way is if you look over here on the left side, there's the frame, and you can see underneath the frame is the image. Doing that selects it, and now you can move it around. Sorry. For all the options, that's just important to know because, again, if you've never used Figma before, I just want you to be calm and loaded up, ready to go. Great. So now this is in our frame, looks excellent, right-sized. Let's get it into a MacBook to show it off. I'm going to select it. I'm going to right-click. And much like before when I got just the frame for how big it was going to be, I'm going to go to Clay Mockups 3D. And now you'll find that there's my design inside of it. Now, if I had wanted to do mobile, of course, I could do that same screenshot trick and just reduce it down to make sure it's a mobile view. So we can have a mobile version of this design as well, but we're doing it for the laptop. And now I'm able to click here on the left side and adjust it to any angle that I want it. So I can make this as crazy or as lopsided as I want. It comes with some, predefined angles, which look pretty cool. You can also change the color of the laptop. Let's say if I wanted it black, you can choose any of your colors that you have on your website or as part of your brand. If you want maybe the rose gold one, I'm going to go with kind of a dark gray there. And then you're going to click on Save as Image. Only other options to know is here on the right side. How large what quality do you want it? Medium, low, or high? We'll go ahead and keep it as medium. Save as Image. There it is. How cool is that? So you can imagine this sitting on a website or a presentation. Any screenshot you can take, any piece of work that you've done or combination, put inside of a MacBook, scaled, shifted around how you want. I always tend to like if you have a few in a row, you can have a MacBook tilted to the left and on the other side tilted on the right. So many great options. Last piece to show, and this will actually apply to all of them, but important to note, I want to save this image. One of the easiest ways to do so in Figma, go ahead and click on it. And you'll notice that everything here on the right updates based on what you have selected. So for a frame, for instance, it has some more frame-specific options. And just so much you can get into, but we're being very hyper-focused. So I'm going to go ahead and click it on this right side. Down here at the bottom, we have Export. So if you, beside Export, if you go to this little plus button, what would you like to export? Would you like to double the size of it, single the size? And what type? Do you want a PDF, JPEG, or PNG? PNG, I'd suggest so you have the transparency, and then you'll just export. And immediately it's ready to go, ready to save wherever you want, ready for your work. So that's immediately pretty cool, pretty awesome. But let's run through a couple more of the other examples. This is just one of the plugins we'd installed. So let's go ahead and right click on this, the same frame. We'll see if it works for the other ones. We might need to do some adjustment together. We'll see. So I'll right click. We'll go down to plugins and let's look at Mockup. So it feels very familiar to the other one. Now this one does have a pro option. So if this is something that maybe you explore and you really like, it might be something you want to explore, but it does have a very generous free selection. So right at the top here, featured pack for free, which is wonderful. And as I mentioned at the top, these are more real world devices. So as if somebody had taken an actual physical iPad, stacked it, and put your design right on top of it. So let's actually go with one of those. So scroll down, you have the laptops, you have the iMacs, Android devices, looks like a roving TV from the 90s, MacBooks, iPads, some more kind of clay basic devices, and actual like them in the hands. Cool, but let's go ahead and get it inside of a iPad. Now in this case, it's telling us it wants an image that is the width of 1500, or do we want like double on 1300? I scrolled up here, that's what happened there. Now if I'm seeing the screen ratio, it's actually telling us it's 2732 by 2048. iPads tend to be quite large in that way. So let me go, whoops. Now what happened is I clicked on that and that gave me, much like the other one, it gave me the screen to work within. Now because it is an iPad, it's going to double it in Retina screen. So my image is probably going to look a little blurry, but that's okay. I'm going to, for the speed of this presentation, kind of just blast through it. All right, let's bring this image in. Again, you could take a screenshot. You could try to export it out. Looks like, I'll let that ride. So, as I said, you'd want to spend some time making sure your dimensions are better. You don't necessarily need to get to this size if you don't want to, as the image you're ultimately going to output is not going to be 3000, especially if you're using it for a website or presentation. So you don't necessarily need to worry about hitting that, but just good to know. So we put out the general size of it. I dragged in my image to that. There's the mockup. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one. What I've done now is I'm going to click on the screen and it's asking me to choose frames. So which frames do I want to go inside of here? I'm going to hit this button, choose frame. It's asking me to crop it. Now I've already kind of scaled it and sized it, so everything should be good. I'll hit crop and now it's ready to go. Look at that. Website right inside this cool iPad render. Let's go ahead and paste in Canvas. See, now this is what I was referencing before. You can see how large this was. And if you're taking an image and stretching it, you might worry this could be blurry. By the time it actually gets rendered into the device, especially at this 1500, which is more than large enough than you'd ever need, it gets scaled down. It looks just fine. So again, those steps here, you run through it one more time, right click, you go to plugins, and this one is Mockup. So from here, you'll see some of their kind of paid options, but right here at the top is the free. You'll find the device that you want to go into and click it. You choose how wide the ultimate output image is. So this is 1500 if you do want to double it, although that'd be sort of large and wild. If you want help to make sure that to know exactly how your images will look inside of this properly sized screen, you can click on this screen ratio button here. That produces a photo for you. Clicking inside of the artboard here, if you press Control or Command minus and plus, that's going to help with your zooming. Just want to mention that. You may have seen me do it. You'll also find the zoom tactically here on the top right. So you can just zoom in, zoom out if you are missing that part. So from there, we'll go ahead and add our artwork inside of this frame. And then coming back into here, we'll click. So it's like, what image do I want in this frame? Clicking, and I'll come on out. It'll give me an option to crop it if I need to adjust it. And there it is. And one more time, we'll just paste in Canvas. And fantastic. We have this awesome looking image. Now it looks like I duplicated it with a device within a device. Must have been from within the render. I'll tell you what, let's do that one more time. Get this out of the way, paste in canvas. There we go. It had pasted itself in and then brought itself in. So nice little bug. Undo, backup, and delete is always your friend. And there we have it. And same process as before. You click on it. So click on what you want to export. Come over here to the right side. Click on export. And you'll choose your file type that you want. PNG is great because it'll have the transparent background. Then export. And your photo is ready to go. Last one, very much the same as we've already been doing here. So we're going to, let's close down this plugin. Great, let's right click. And now we're coming down to plugins and Vectary 3D elements. Go ahead and click that and familiar type of flow. The screen kind of comes up on top. Now, you'll see here on the right is not only can you output items, you can also do elements if you want to put a series of blocks or rockets. So be it, but for our particular item, we're looking for mockup. So we'll hit mockup. And much like the other one, you can see the laptop. And over here on the left side, I'm clicking and I'm dragging. I'm able to see anything. This one actually comes with a shadow, which helps place it onto whatever design file you're doing. You can remove it if you want to just keep it flat. I do like a bit of shadow. I'd mentioned at the top of the video, there's some really kind of fun ones here where, for instance, if you did have a cool logo or a shirt design that you wanted to place on here. Let's see, we load frame. So this worked like the other one where we're going to have this open and we'll select the frame. And this is, I'm just trying to show some fun stuff. Let's go ahead and click get layout. Oh, oops. Other way around. That was the first button, much like the other options where if you want to add your design to the shirt one, get layout, paste it out here so you can do it. Quickly though, just for my silly fun, let's click this, load the frame. And you can just imagine having a ton of fun doing that. There's hats, watches, coffee bags, shopping bags, like it way too much fun. Ever want to see your your logo on a coffee cup, it'd be great. And again, you just want to get layout. There it is. And that's how it would look. But I digress. I could do this all day, having way too much fun. Let's go ahead and put this actually inside of a iMac. Let's adjust this here. Let's go ahead and load frame. So let's find this kind of larger one. We're going to hit load frame. We'll see if it gives me an option to crop. It does not. So let's click out into another one just to empty it out. And let's do it as it's asking. So it's a 2560 by 1440. I'm going to select this frame. I'm going to copy it. You'll notice that, you know, that you can, this artboard is unlimited. It moves all over the place and you can just mess around and play around as you're doing it. You're more likely going to have one item that you're doing. You won't have to deal with this. But in this case, let's go ahead and get layout. And there it is. So this is the layout of that Mac. I'm going to take the photo. I'm able to click and copy it here. You would probably want to play around a bit more to make sure you get the right size and not have it scaled too incorrectly. But again, I just wanted, for the sake of this video, do it a bit more quickly. So that's looking about right. So let's go ahead and load frame. It looks like I have to select it first. Come over here to load frame. And there it is, placed within the design. Tell you what, let's just for experiment's sake, let's go ahead and make it a bit smaller, or get a bigger version of the website. So same trick. Now, again, you're likely not, you'd want to work with multiplications. You'd want to probably put the width and the height pixels by half, but we're not going to worry about that too much. We're just doing this quick. I would expect as you're outputting your work, you would want to spend some better time to do a really great job of it. I am just doing it quick in this demonstration. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get rid of my face for a second. Let's make this as large as possible. Great. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot of that. That looks better. Let's get this out of the way. Let's find that latest screenshot. I'm going to drag it onto the artboard just to make it look a little bit better. There we are. It looks a bit more natural. And again, so this is up. You choose your kind of angle or direction. You're going to choose the artwork that you want to display on that, the screenshot. We'll go over here to load frame. And there it is, looking much better. From here, we'll just go with export image. And there we have it. Transparent, a little bit of shadow, our awesome looking screenshot right onto the device and ready for export. Again, just we have this, we'll click the image, come over here to export, click the button, what size, what type, export. It's ready to go, used for all your designs. So that was a little bit longer, but I wanted to kind of walk you through it. And if anything else, just understanding the vast power of Figma, but ensuring that you're not too intimidated by it. It is a full-fledged design application, but by taking some slow steps, you're able to do some incredible easy things without having to learn it all. So all we did was we went to Figma, we created an account, we installed some plugins that extended the capabilities, and specifically Clay Mockups, Mockup, and Vectary. Once those are in place, we created a new file, a new design file. From there, we opened up the right-clicked. Again, that's the most important part, defining it. Right-click, plugins, and then we brought up the various ones. And from there, we would load the frame for how big, width, and height it's going to be, add our artwork to it, see it get slotted in, and all of a sudden you're able to output these amazing looking visuals that add an incredible amount of depth and impact to any of your designs that you're doing for yourself or for clients. So as you can see, it's with a few simple steps, you can output some incredible, amazing looking designs, and cheers to your great looking work.